wanted to clarify my response. I was basing it off of why would you need her permission to swab your baby's mouth? You
because it's
understand?
illegal in some states to get it without her permission.
Yeah, like what the
Is
hell?
what now?
It
I'm
is
sorry.
illegal in certain states and cities to without both parents' consent to get a DNA test. That's what I was saying about it's not consistent across the board. There's
Okay,
certain
see
states
that
you can
part,
go,
see
yeah.
that was information for me to, so that's why I wanted to clarify. So in what I thought was the paternity test, I know that they do have swabs online that you
Mhm.
can swab the baby mouth. It doesn't hurt the child, it's just a simple swab. And my thing is, why would you have to ask somebody to swab your baby's mouth? Like, why do you have to have this person's permission to swab
Mhm.
your baby's mouth?
Well,
So I was thinking of it as
you
if
don't know if it's your baby yet.
but if she has you in there, that means she's saying it is your baby, right? So if you can take on that ownership, okay, if it's my baby, I should be able to move as the father of this child. So I have equal rights to my child, like you have rights, right? Because she can make decisions about the kid too. So I'm moving from that standpoint. This is the
Mhm.
father. He has the same rights that I have. His say is no different from my say. So if he feels with his child, when he has his child in his possession, just wants to swab the kid's mouth. It's not harming the kid for his
Well, why,
own
well,
self.
Shane, why you acting
But
like
let me
why
finish
you acting like
talking.
y'all breed of women don't be like, hell no, you go get a court order, or you better go get
So,
some
so
paperwork before you
let
touch
me
it,
please. So
even
let
if
me,
it's his kid.
Darwin. Can I please?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I think the reason they, in some states and in some countries, I've heard also in France, a man is not even allowed to go do a DNA test without the mother's consent. Isn't that crazy? So a woman can say this is your child and tie a baby on you, but you are not allowed. You don't have the right to get the baby and go check if that's really your baby, and the mother has to. So if the mother doesn't approve, you're just going to pay child support for a baby that doesn't belong to you. So they allow the ladies, women, to tie babies on you without your consent. They allow them to file child support on you without your consent. But when you want to prove if the baby really belongs to you, when you want to go test the baby, you need her consent. How is that fair? Like, which man looks at this and is like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to have a baby." You know?
Finish, and I promise I will answer your question within that.
Technical.
As I was about to say was, thank you, Jeff. I did not know that it was not legal. So now it does make sense because if she has to know, that changes everything. I did not know that she had to know. I was under the impression that if it's your child and it's a simple swap, you had the decision to do that. But thank you. So
Yeah.
because of that information that was shared with me,
Mhm.
I can understand your stance on it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's definitely based on the state and jurisdiction. And there's actually I saw I want to say a week ago there was a bill. I have to find it. There was a bill that was trying to be introduced to ban paternity testing. So yeah, we are in an environment where things have it's so overcorrected and skewed. You now have a demographic of men that's feeling stuck because a huge percentage of the other half of the population either doesn't care, isn't interested, sees it as a benefit for them and doesn't want to give it up, or they're sympathetic, but they don't know the next logical steps of how can we kind of come beside you and kind of support you guys. So
Well, would I
that's
be wrong? Would I be wrong if I said Cheyenne is an example of the side that doesn't show interest on these particular things? Therefore, she didn't know that there was a law preventing a man from swapping it because of.
They don't care. They don't care because it doesn't benefit them. And to be fair, to play devil's advocate, I believe if I was a woman and I can just tie a baby on any random guy I slept with, I probably also wouldn't want to change the laws in favor of men. I probably also wouldn't care about what men really go through when it comes to paternity fraud. So they don't care because it doesn't benefit them. If there was a law that requires them to do a mandatory DNA test at birth, as soon as they have a baby, they are required to do a DNA test to prove who really the dad is, that wouldn't benefit them because that means they cannot find a rich guy who they used to sleep with or the good guy who they slept with after sleeping with the bad boy and then pretend that's the real father when that's not the father. It wouldn't help them.
her position on these things in a biased way.
We all have things that we don't know. But when we receive new information, now we get to reflect, reevaluate, even
Right.
look into it further. That's what happens.
Well,
She
yeah,
just
but
hadn't heard that information before.
right, but that wasn't my question. But I get
Mhm.
what you're saying, but I'm saying like before she got the new information. Like there's information about this stuff that's critical
Mhm.
to the whole reason why men are getting dragged or disproportionately put through the system because of these matters. And the
It's
reason
also
why a lot of women don't know about this little fundamental thing that you can't just go up there and swap a kid
Mhm.
is based on the reason that they maybe they don't even have any interest on peeling back the layers to figure out all the things that's preventing this man from rightfully finding out whether this kid is not. It's no interest in. So
I
they're
think
not going to go and peel back the layers to figure out if there is any law preventing them. Period.
it's gonna
I don't think
sound it's gonna sound Shayna, I'll let you speak in a second. What Shayna the process of what we just had is actually a human thing. There's a whole host of things that women will report and say that that's a unique concern to them. And it usually takes a man kind of being sat down, or it happening to his daughter or happening to his mother, for him to start to gain much more understanding of what certain things that women have to go through. So I don't look at it as a unique thing from the female population as much as it's probably a human thing. And unless we have conversations like these, or someone who's intentionally choosing to try to share a particular side, but communicating in a way where people can receive it, it makes sense where it's not until something like this happens where they're like, oh, I didn't know. Um,
Much as I agree with him, but I think what Darwin is saying is men have had this conversation before. For example, you see how men have talked about the fact that they need laws to change when it comes to divorce and splitting of property. They need laws to change when it comes to alimony. They need laws to change in terms of custody of kids. They need laws to be put in terms of mandatory DNA testing. They need laws to be put in terms of tracking how much money women spend when it comes to child support, because men have been saying, hey, listen, I pay too much child support and the woman uses it to do her hair. There's no way of tracking really if she's spending the money I give her on my kids. Men have been saying these things over and over and over again, and the women are like, we don't care. They don't want to listen. They don't want to, find a common ground. They don't want to champion for changing of laws. I think that's what Darwin is saying. And he's simply saying, oh, they didn't know. Oh, now they know. It's a human thing. I think the human thing comes into aspect in terms of humans don't care when something doesn't directly affects them. But what Darwin is saying is men have been saying these things over and over again that, hey, listen, paternity fraud has been affecting us for so long. For example, the Maury show, the paternity, where are you the father show, you guys know what I'm talking about, went on like 20 years, 30 years ago. But the same thing, women have refused to champion the change of laws because it doesn't benefit them. They don't care.
so yeah, I don't look at it as like a female thing or black woman thing or anything like that. I think it's like there's a whole host of things that's unique challenges to black women that a whole bunch of black men make it very clear they're not interested in. They're not interested in knowing. They're not interested in learning. I'll give you an example. Interracial relationships. A lot of black people, men and women, have their views and attitudes about it by default. They just feel how they feel about it, right? They either support of it or they're not. They may be on the Dr. Umar types where they think they're a race traitor and all this other stuff, and he hates his mother and that he hates black women. And me, who and other friends of mine who have dated all women of all over the place, it's always interesting to hear how people talk about something they've never done and never been a part of, and they just have these certain assumptions. And then when we sit down, when we talk, and they start, yo, you dated a Belarusian before? Yo, you dated a Brazilian? Oh, okay. Well, What was going on with that? Didn't hate black women. Don't hate my mom. Got a great relationship. She was just here 2 days ago. Like, and what you realize is like once we have those breakdown conversations and those walls come down, people's perspectives change. But unless the conversation was allowed to happen, it makes sense why people just have the views that they do until they receive more information. So that's just how I see it.
I
So
feel
I
like
wanted to ask you about the point you made about communication, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like there's a serious disconnect. We all realize that, right? So, in your opinion, what do you think that men could possibly be doing wrong, and vice versa, of course, to why we always miss each other? Why we can't have a civil conversation sometimes? Why don't we come to a conclusion? Why can't we come to solutions? What are we missing?
Um,
Before he answers that question, I can answer the question. I believe what black men and black women are missing is the foundation. So, and I always say this: if you grow up in a house where you didn't see your mother and your father coming together on a table, sitting down talking, you either didn't see the father in the house, or your own mom, your own mother was always screaming at you. So you think, so as a man, as a young boy, young black boy, you're growing up with your own mom, shouting at you, accusing you of doing things, speaking negatively about your own father. Because some moms do this. They try to make the kids hate the father because the father's moved on, has found a new woman, whatever the reason, right? So for me, I believe by the time we become adults, we can't solve the issue of communication between men and women because the foundation is already broken. We didn't see it in the house when we grew up, right? Our own mothers didn't talk to us nicely. Maybe our own fathers were not there to also talk to us as black boys to teach us communication. So we didn't see it being exemplified in the house. So there's no way we're going to be so good at it when we grow up as adults. Now you can learn, but most people don't want to learn. So we grow up, black women don't know how to communicate to black men because they didn't see the mothers or the fathers do it together with the mom, right? And then black boys didn't also see their mothers and their fathers do the same thing. And then there's an added component of the girls. So the mom, the single mom, acting strong and independent, doesn't need a man, or switching different men. And then the boys, all they had to do was listen to the mom speak negatively about the dad and how going mouthy every single day.
well, okay. So for starters, with women, I'll start with women. With women, they struggle with trying to project the way in which they relate with each other onto the men that they're talking to and trying to do life with. So, as an example, they will talk to their girlfriends about all kind of different things about work and so and so did this and a lot of times they will talk about issues, but just the nature of talking about the issue is a bonding experience for them, where it's like a connecting thing for them. Them bringing up issues and talking about problems with their girlfriends is not usually about bringing it up so that you can help give me an answer to solve it. Men's way of communicating is the opposite. If I'm actually bringing something up, it's solely for the purpose of how I need help with resolving this. Women feel better talking about the situation, and sometimes it will often kind of work itself out. Men, if they are going to bring it up, it's because they want an answer. So when men are being
They
forced
want a
into treatment,
solution.
forced into therapy, and we've been talking about this for the same last 4 weeks, it's like, what's the point of this? The wife or the girlfriend or the woman, I've seen her for the last 6 months, and she's never running out of stuff to talk about. And she feels connected, she feels heard, she feels validated, and he keeps coming in feeling like my problem isn't getting solved. And if he feels like the answers to his problems get solved or fixed, he feels better. For her, it's actually not always about whether her actual problem, if anything actually happened with it. It's about when I'm
Val-
talking about it,
Validation,
can you at least understand how I'm feeling in this moment?
feelings.
So when men don't understand that and when women don't understand that, they're now trying to force the other to conform. So when a guy says, "Can you stop nagging?" Why I got to hear about everything? Why can't you just do this? He doesn't get it. When she's like, "I can't ever talk to you about this, and that," they have to figure out a way of compromise to do this dance so that they can be, so that they can kind of do life well together. It's not about the only way me and my wife are going to do well, me and my girlfriend going to do well is if she only bring up issues that I can solve. Nah, sometimes you just want to talk. Sometimes you just want to bond. On the flip side with him, when the men are bringing up their issues and women say they're not good communicators, they don't this, they don't that, because when they do try to communicate, if you're trying to push the conversation in a direction he didn't intend, now if it's all about now how you feeling, he may have needed that moment. He doesn't need that check-in every day. Or he brings up an issue he's having in the relationship or with her, and she does reverse psychology and flips it on him. And now she's
She plays
upset.
the victim.
She's upset about the thing that he was upset about that he brought up to her. And now before you know it, he's apologizing when he was the one who had the issue. Once you learn that dance and you both sides kind of stop doing the things that they know is kind of exacerbating the issue, communication styles actually start to integrate and improve significantly.
I agree. He was cooking. So that's why I let him keep going so you guys can really listen. But I think why most men don't open up is because most men have been through issues where they try to communicate to a woman what they're going through, because guys don't open up just like that. But most guys are scared of opening up about something big or small, and then they fear the woman judging them. But most importantly, they fear the woman reversing it and playing victim, and then even maybe a week or so later, once they have an argument, they use it against the man. Oh, that's why you last week you're crying because you're a bitch. Oh, that's why you can't find a job. Oh, that's so because he was able to be vulnerable and open up to them, but now they're using what he told her. She's using it against him. So most guys are like, that happens once or two times to a man, that's why men don't open up, right? So, but also because, like he said, as men, we want to solve the issue. We don't care about the feelings. It's like, okay, such and such is happening. What's the solution? And women just want to talk. They just want to turn you into their girlfriend, which literally what he's saying. And most guys are like, no, you're just being nagging. Like, I'm not your girlfriend. That's why for me, once you hear a woman saying, oh, I just want my best friend, translation is, I just want a man who's gonna go be part-time boyfriend and then part-time girlfriend. When it's time to talk and vent and talk about anything and talk about love and hip-hop shows and the Kardashians, you're gonna be my girlfriend. We're gonna talk about it like as if you're my girlfriend. But when it's time to clap cheeks and buy me things and paying the bills, now you're my boyfriend, you're the man, you're the leader. So he's right. There is a disconnect, but for me, I believe it starts from the home. It starts from if you didn't see your mom and your dad communicating, on a common ground and communicating maturely, and as adults, it's very hard to learn that when you grow up. What do you guys think? Shout out to the Black Therapist. Shout out to, to Lapif. I'll put all their links down below.